Jurgen Klopp, you'd imagine, would have been full of happiness after yesterday's amazing win against Leicester. As much as he was impressed with their performance, he once again used his platform after the game to bring up the facts that the fixtures are congested, citing the fact that they've got to play Brighton in the early game on Saturday after playing a Champions League game on Wednesday, listing the injuries and the problems and the need for more substitutions. Stevie, overall, do you empathise with Klopp?
Well, yes, I empathise with the fact that they've got so many injuries, and yes, this is the best time to, if you've got a grievance like that, this is the best time after you've won, because then people can't turn around and say it's sour grapes or anything that nonsense. So I think the timing of it's right. The problem is, if he's going to argue, he has to argue about having another day's rest. You can't argue about having 3 or 4 hours more rest. That doesn't make any sense. And actually, it should be the clubs that are doing the arguing and not the managers. There are so many people involved, and if there was to make any changes, that it wouldn't be ideal for anybody other than the one person that it suited. You know, the managers want more time, but that's ideal for them. The TV companies want to play the games when they want because that's best for them, so it's ideal for them but not anybody else. I mean, it's just never going to change. And by the way, this is nothing new. Let me tell you, 35 years ago, I'll give you a great example. 35 years ago, we would play on a Saturday, travel up to Scotland on a Sunday. On the Monday, with the Scottish national team, we would travel in Europe somewhere. We'd train Tuesday, play Wednesday, travel straight back Wednesday night, get back at silly o'clock Thursday morning, travel back down to Liverpool on the Thursday, get on the bus on Friday and travel to London or Southampton or Norwich and then play a game on the Saturday. So there's 3 games in 7 days with 4 of those days travelling. That's 35 years ago. And for 35 years, everybody's been saying the same thing and complaining about too many games. It's never going to change. But if you're going to argue over something that should have happened. And in my opinion, what should have happened is the international fixtures should have been scrapped. Sending players around the world in the middle of a worldwide pandemic is absolute madness.
Don, Klopp taking on the broadcasters, this early kick-off time. Not only Klopp, we've heard other managers complain about it as well, but it's the richest league in the world because of the TV companies and because of the money that they have pumped in. It's difficult, isn't it, really, if you're in that situation, to feel too much sympathy for Klopp and others?
It's hard, Dan. It's hard because I don't think anyone's got the solution. I mean, I heard a story about Almiron in Newcastle who travelled and played in Paraguay's first game, and he wasn't eligible or fit enough to play in their second game, but they still made him travel with the squad. So therefore, he got back, I think, Friday morning and wasn't ready enough to play for Newcastle. That's one example. The contradiction to that is Ross Barkley got injured for Aston Villa, who didn't travel on international duty. So it wasn't as though he was tired and he was labouring. But I think the number at the moment, Dan, is close to 100 players that's out injured. And I understand exactly what Jurgen Klopp's saying. And I think he was trying to stress the fact as well that he wasn't just talking about Liverpool players. He was talking about, I think, Saka at Arsenal picked up a knee injury. And he was looking around the rest of the teams in the Premier League thinking there's too many injuries. And you can't really argue with what he's saying and exactly what Stevie's saying. There's always been a backlog of fixtures, and it's always been tough when you're playing 3 games a week. I've done that myself. It's hard, but you've got to be durable. You've got to get on with it. The trouble is where do you try and give the players a rest? I think, like Stevie, the Nations League and the friendlies, they didn't need to be played this early. Not early on when the players hadn't had a month or 2 off in the summer. Some players got 8 or 9, 10 days maximum off in the summer, straight back into no pre-season whatsoever, playing Premier League games, and all of a sudden Nations League and international friendlies come. So at some point, something's got to give, and it has to be not the Premier League, not domestic leagues around Europe. It has to be the internationals that I think people need to look at and say, well, how can we try and protect our players? If we need to try and move the Euros on a couple of weeks next summer, then so be it. But try and find a time to try and give the Premier League players, while they're playing domestic football and Champions League football, some kind of break.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.